Knowing the essence of your life is crucial for success. Knowing why you are here is important for you to excel in life. As a 20-something-year-old, you need to have this understanding. Your 20s is the foundation for the rest of your adult life. Your 20s is the foundation for the rest of your adult life. As you advance in age, you are getting older, you are moving to adulthood. And as you move into adulthood, you need to have a deep understanding of why you are an adult. Knowing why you are an adult is crucial, because if you don't know, you are going to abuse your life. You are going to abuse your existence. You are going to make wrong use of your time. You are going to make wrong use of the resources that comes your way. So let's explore some of the things you need to engage in, some activities that you need to involve yourself in as a 20-something-year-old. The first thing you need to learn to do, or the activity you need to engage in your 20s, is that you need to travel. You need to travel from your base. You need to leave your base, where you reside, and go to other places. Go and check other places out. Visit other places. You see, there are a whole lot of things that are embedded as benefits for you leaving your base and going to other places, other nations, other communities. If you are not moving, you will be stagnant. And there is no way you will be stagnant and advance. There are technologies that people are using in some countries that are not available in our countries because it is developed in their own region. It is developed in their own place. So until somebody goes there to bring the knowledge in, you may not acquire that same knowledge. You may not know it. You may not have access to it. This is why it is important for you to get out of your base once in a while. Just go and see new things, new knowledge. You need to be on the move. You need to reach out to other places to understand, to have a good grip of the knowledge that is reigning. Some years back in this nation, there was no mobile phone. There was nothing like mobile phone. As a matter of fact, the internet was non-existent. But all this while, a whole lot of countries had access to it until the people that have those resources, those machines, those computers, those servers, those phone and every other thing, until they came into Nigeria. They left their base and they came into Nigeria. And that gave us the opportunity to have access to the net, to have mobile phone and to have other devices. Imagine if they had not left their country, if they had not come to Nigeria to bid for telecommunication license. What do you think would happen? This is why it is important for you as a 20-something-year-old, now that you're in your 20s, now that your energy level is at its peak, you need to get out of your base. At least move to other places. Get to see what is happening. There are a whole lot of things that is happening all around the world, even in neighboring countries and neighboring states and neighboring communities, that once you see them, once you understand them, it will help you advance your future. It will help you advance your 20s. It will give you insight into how to make things happen for yourself. Daniel said, knowledge shall increase and many shall travel to and fro. Knowledge shall increase and many shall travel to and fro. You see, there is no way you will travel and you will not acquire knowledge. There is no way you would travel and not get new information. There is no way you would travel and not, see things from another perspective. You see, traveling in itself, like most people who used to travel understand, is a form of knowledge. Is a training that you can't explain it, you can't teach it. It's a personal thing. And that is why, as a 20-something-year-old, you need to develop the lifestyle of getting out of your base, of your domain, and go to other locations and acquire knowledge and new skill and new insights. I once worked with a man, and this very particular man was into construction. One day we went to a client's place. Actually, we were prospecting that client. And so fortunately for us, we met the client at his site for the first time. While we were discussing, the man mentioned that he would like the tiles in his house to reflect the one that's in a particular airport in Dubai. The moment he mentioned the name of the airport, the man I worked for then said, "Oh yes, I remember." So he described the tiles and the futures of those things. And they began to chat, they began to discuss, they began to share notes, they began to compare notes about travels and all those stuff. At the end of the day, the man gave the contract out to my boss at that time. Much of the discussion wasn't even about the building or the project. It was about their travels, their experiences, they comparing notes. And I'm sure till today they are still good friends. This is what traveling, leaving your base can do for you. It opens doors for you. It helps you meet people. It helps you have connection. You meet people who are like minds. You cannot stay in the same place and see far. You need to get out of your base. You need to get out of your domain in order for you to see new things, new concepts, new ideas. Your 20s is the time for you to get out, move out, learn new things, acquire new knowledge, meet new people, see the world from a global dimension, see the world from a universal view. This is important because you have a long way to go. You are at 20, you still live extra 80 or 100 years. And so for you to have a life that is full of opportunities will help you maximize your time, a life that will create resource, a life that will create wealth for you. You need to get out and see other things and see opportunities round about you. You cannot be at a point all this rest of your life and expect to excel. God told Abraham, God said, Abraham, leave your father's house. I will show you a land. He had to travel. As a matter of fact, he relocated. Even at that, he was still moving. He was still moving to and fro. Knowledge is not a personal thing. It's a universal thing. It needs to be shared. If it's not shared with you, you may not advance in life. Look at the first world. They are constantly creating knowledge. They are constantly traveling. They are constantly moving, looking for resources, looking for opportunities, looking for the next thing that would create wealth for them, for their families, for their nation, and for the entire world. Somebody sat down somewhere, created iPhone, and it became a global phenomenon. Somebody sat somewhere, it created a product, it called it a Bugatti, and before you know it, it became a global product. All these things are functions of knowledge that is based on experiences and exposures from a global perspective. You cannot remain local and become international. No, it doesn't work that way. You need to get out and see things the way it's done all over the world in order for you to excel and live a fulfilled adult life now that you are in your 20s. When you travel, it helps you live a happy life. Traveling relieves stress and anxiety. As a 20-something-year-old, you need to understand this. If you are stressed, if things are not going well the way you want them, take time out, travel. Just go and unwind somewhere. Go and rest. Go to another location. Move out of your base. It may be to another state. It may be to West African countries. Just get out. Get out. There is need for you to re-strategize. There is need for you to think clearly. And at times, for that clarity to come in, you need to move to another place. You need to get to another environment where that clarity can be acquired. As I said, familiarization brings contempt. When you are too familiar, when you are used to a particular location, it may become tough for you to excel. So this is why it's important for you, now that you're in your 20s, to take time out and travel. Just get out of your domain. Move out so that you can see life from a fresh perspective, so that it can be renewed in your vision, in your thoughts, in your ideas, and your lifestyle. Also, you need to understand that when you travel, it exposes new things to you. There are new things that you would see that you never seen before. There are new things that you will see that you never, that will beat your imagination. The first time I traveled out of Nigeria, to a West African country, the experience at the immigration alone was something else. I never experienced it. So the way it was done, the way they attended to me on the Nigerian side and the other nation side, was quite unique. I was able to compare and see the way people are being treated. What about conversion of currencies? You have to convert the Nigerian currency to other nations' currencies. It was a new experience. It was another experience on its own. And of course, the culture, I'm sure you must have had culture shock. The same thing happened. It opens me to seeing things from a new perspective. Until you get out of your base, of your domain, there are some things that you will never understand. Even people talk about it, you will never understand them. This is why now that you're in your 20s, you need to learn to travel. Make traveling part of the activities that you do as a 20-something-year-old. Learn to travel, get out of your base, move out, acquire new knowledge, acquire new skills. It would help you in maximizing your 20s. Another activities you need to engage in now that you're in your 20s is to develop reading habits. You may have graduated from the university, you may have maybe for now accomplished your academic goals, but you still need to acquire knowledge. And by this I mean you need to acquire knowledge by taking time out and reading books on a regular basis. Because by reading books, you acquire new knowledge, you acquire fresh knowledge, you acquire deeper insight from people who have gone ahead of you. It's like a river that is having water flowing into it regularly. Such a river will be clean, especially if that river is flowing. If water comes into it and it gives out water and it flows, that water will be clean. But in a situation where a river is stagnant, it's not going anywhere. After a while, no water is coming into it. What happens? It will dry. Now, this explains why a lot of young people, especially people in their 20s, when it comes to the way they think and reason, it lacks depth. It reflects emptiness. A lot of people in their 20s are so shallow when it comes to discussing issues about life, about resources, about creating opportunities, about advancing their own life. They are very shallow. They lack the depth. And this is because they refuse to acquire knowledge, which comes through reading. There are a lot of benefits that are embedded in reading books on a personal level. You go to a bookshop, you look for books, you buy them, you sit down and invest time in reading them. There are a whole lot of resources, opportunities, life transforming information that are embedded in books. As a matter of fact, when an author writes a book, he's sharing with you all that he has experienced in his entire lifetime. What somebody has experienced or encountered in his lifetime is what you would acquire by reading the book maybe in a day or two. This explains why they said leaders are readers. You cannot see a true leader, a performing leader, a leader that transforms life. It was always a reader, because they need that knowledge from other people. They need the information from other people. They need the wealth and ideas of others in helping their followers advance. So as a 20-something-year-old, you need to master or develop the habit of reading books. There are people today who have never read one book about business in their life, and they are in business. They've never read one book. Adults, they've never read one book, and they are in business. How will such a business survive? How will such a business succeed? There are many married adults today who have never read one book on relationships, and so you hear them talking about marriage is a necessary evil. For you need to develop the habits of reading books. As a 20-something-year-old, you need to develop the habit of taking time out, buying books, and read them. In Daniel chapter 9 and verse 2, Daniel said, I, Daniel, understood by books the number of the years whereof the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah the prophet, that he would accomplish 70 years in the desolation of Jerusalem. God has spoken to Prophet Jeremiah that he is going to send the children of Israel into slavery is going to waste their land for 70 years as a result of their failure to serve him, to honor him. They disrespected God by following other gods. Now, Daniel was in captivity. He was raised in the land of captivity. So it was during the 70th year, while he was reading the book, that he came across what was written, that, the desolation of their country was just for 70 years. And so, because of the understanding he got from that book, he began to pray for the liberation of his country. You will not be liberated from challenges of life if you don't buy books and read them. You will not be liberated from challenges of life if you don't buy books and read them. Nobody goes to the top of a mountain and pray and fasted, and after 10 days came back and became a medical doctor. I'm sure you know that. Nobody does that. You have to go to primary school, secondary school, you go to medical school, you take tests, you do practicals, you do all those stuff, and you are certified to be a medical doctor. You don't become a medical doctor, or you don't become a professional, a teacher, you don't become a chemist by prayer and fasting. You become a professional by going and studying, reading books related to those professions, and being certified. Understand this. If you don't open the books, the doors of life may not open to you. If you don't open the books, the doors of opportunities may not open to you. A lot of people wonder that things are not working for them. The reason is because they don't open books, they don't read. They don't open books, they don't read. If you are not reading, you cannot lead. If you are not reading, you cannot see solutions to the challenges of life that's confronting you. So now that you're in your 20s, now that you are at the foundational level of your life, you need to embed reading into the activities that you'll be engaging in every day. The limitations you are having today is because you lack the knowledge. And the knowledge you lack is because you refuse to research and find the solutions or those knowledge in books. There is no mountain anywhere. Your ignorance is your mountain. And why you have that and why that ignorance is in existence is because you refuse to read. Somebody has gone through that experience that you are going through. Somebody has gone through the challenges that you are going through. So a lot of adults are in their 50s, 60s, and 70s today. The problem you're having today, somebody has gone through it and has passed through it successfully and has documented it in a book. All you just need to do is to go get the books and buy them. Some years back, I was reading a book about financial matters, and the author mentioned that by the end of the decade, then it was 2000, he said by the end of that decade, that people would be, larger percentage of people would be using payments via mobile devices. At that point in time, I was reading that book, I think, in 2009, thereabouts, but the book was originally published in 2001, and it targeted the US audience. So when I read this book, it opened my mind into understanding the future of mobile devices from a global perspective. As of 2009, in our nation, mobile penetration and internet service was still budding. It was just rising at that time. So I began to look at opportunities that helped me leverage my financial resources. While reading the book, the author mentioned that people need to start preparing for marketing on mobile devices or focusing more on internet marketing. Now, when I came across this very particular instruction in that book, I began to look into studying internet marketing. And so by 2010-11, I had mastered internet marketing. And the first project I did was with a furniture company. They were doing kitchen cabinets. And so I marketed it online, and the first job that came was a 3 million naira job. The second one that came was a 10 million naira job. Of course, I never did anything except, setting the marketing platform and, promoting the products online. All I did was just promote the products online, relax. And when the contract came in, I got paid my commission. Now, since that period of time, I've been earning consistently as a result of what I read from that book. The book, maybe it cost me 3,000 or 2,000 naira, no, maybe 2,000, 3,000 naira thereabouts. But I'm over a decade now, I'm still experiencing blessings. I'm experiencing financial income. I'm still generating wealth as a result of just one instruction that I read from that book. You don't know what you are missing as a 20-something-year-old if you don't read books. You don't know what you are missing when you don't open books and read. You are destroying the opportunity of making wealth, of becoming great, of becoming successful, and of becoming a voice when you don't read books. Therefore, I want to encourage you. I want to encourage every one of you listening to me, particularly those of you who are in your 20s, to pay attention to books. Start reading books now. Start going to bookstore and reading books. You may say that, well, you don't have the time, but you have the time to check social media out. You have the time to watch your favorite club play football. It's not so much about time, it's about your priorities, it's about the things that you value. If you really value your life, if you really value your existence, if you really want to make your 20s count, you will dedicate time to reading. You will dedicate time to buying books and going through them. There are some things that you never get if you don't sit down and buy books and read them. There are some knowledge that you never acquire if you don't buy those books and read them. If Daniel had not opened the book and sit himself down and read, he would not have understood that the time of liberation of himself, his people, and his nation is at hand. He will never know. There are opportunities round about us. You are not poor because of the economies per se. You are not poor or broke as a result of your parents not being rich. The challenge with you is that you refuse to open books and read in order to find solution to the challenges of your own life. Nobody will read for you. Nobody will read for you. Just as you will not eat for anybody. I mean, you eat food and you digest it for someone and you digest it, and at the end of the day, you now transfer it to another person. It's not done. It is everybody with his own challenge. So you have your own challenge, you go to store, you go to bookstore, you buy the books, and you sit down and read. It's like taking an orange. If you don't squeeze the content, the juice won't come out. And you can't be squeezing juice for somebody else. No, it's not done. It's not done. You take it, you squeeze it, and you take the thing in by yourself. When you read books, you widen your horizon. You widen your insight. You increase your depth. You increase your knowledge. You become better in reasoning. Now that you are in your 20s, you need to have this at the back of mind that reading books helps you become a better person. It opens your mind. It opens your understanding to see opportunities, to see how things are done, and to be a solution to the world. Remember, your 20s is the foundation for the rest of your adult years. You need to pay attention to yourself. You need to pay attention to your life. You need to pay attention to yourself now, because as you advance in age, whatever you do now in your 20s will determine what you become, what you would experience in your adult life.